slow travel, wandering the world, visiting different countries every few months is a great way to begin your financial independence or your retirement journey. But there's still a question that needs to be answered. Where are we going to pay our taxes? So today we're going to try and address that. We've had a lot of questions, so stick around to the end and we'll let you know where we're going to be tax residents come 2024.
Hey, if you're new here, that's what we are going to do. As of we record the video today, we are 127 days away of our financial independence journey.
No, this is the journey to
this
financial.
Is the journey. Okay, well,
beginning our financial independence journey.
Beginning our financial independence journey. That is correct, and that's what we are gonna do. We are gonna planning to spend a lot of time outside Canada. By the way, this is where we live. We are going, and it's not hot out, under us. So we are warm, but good. That's what we are going to do. We are going to travel the world for quite some time, and as a result, we need to think about taxes, and we need to think about the implications of the tax residency here. What you're going to talk on the video today is about what? It's about what is tax residency, what are the implications of the tax residency, and what else? Challenge for full-time travelers. At the end, we are going to share with you what we plan to do. Feel free to use the chapters below if you want to, but I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let my lovely wife, Christine, talk about it now.
So what is tax residency? Well, tax residency is where you're legally obligated to pay tax. Unfortunately, it's something we can't run away from. No matter how far we travel, we're still going to be legally obligated to pay tax. And so tax residency is going to tell us whether that's going to be here in Canada, whether it's going to be in Brazil, whether it's going to be another country around the world if we decide to stay there any length of time.
Yeah, and this is something that you have to think about. Most of the times, from what I heard in our researches, actually people were not happy with this. But at the end of the day, it's like the opposite. That's how we see, which is it's a good thing to pay taxes, and you have to pay taxes no matter where we are. But
I'm going to remind him of this in 2024 when he has to pay his taxes.
Okay.
Because
I
not
need
the
to
way.
remember something else, but we need to be smart about the way that we are paying our taxes. At the end of the day, we want to pay taxes. We are happy to do, but you gotta be smart.
Yeah, for our American friends out there, I believe it was Benjamin Franklin that said that there's only two sure things in life, death and taxes. So it's something you have to figure out, and whether you're going to be half the year in your home country and keep paying taxes there, or traveling and figuring out where you're going to do it, it's inevitable.
So yes, that's basically what tax residency is. But how do we determine what kind of
resident we are?
First of all, let's just be clear. We are just sharing our experience on how we see the tax system. As you can imagine, there are so many things that you have to consider, but we wanted to share with you what we are planning to do based on the advice that we received from our accountant, from the financial planner, and based on the amount of money that we are planning to spend throughout the year. It's not only that, also the different accounts that we have within our portfolio. So that's how the tax residency in our case it was defined, but overall we think about usually two.
Yeah, there's here in Canada, I think there's 3 or 4 different definitions, but the ones we're going to look at today for the purposes of full-time travelers or long-time retirement travels are either going to be a factual resident or a deemed resident. You can also get into non-residency and stuff like that, but that is a whole other video that we're not going to be doing.
No, we have no intent of doing it because we don't know.
Yeah, and quick disclaimer, this is not advice. Make sure you do your own research for your own situation, because this is us looking on the internet and talking to 2 people. So
but at the end of the day, that's what is gonna happen. As we record this video in November 2023, by next year the tax system in Canada might be different. So as a result, there are implications as well. But Thinking about that in high CRA, we are talking about two of them, which is the
Factual resident.
factual resident and
Yeah.
the genuine resident. What is a factual resident? You're going to
Okay.
see something on your screen with a better definition, but
Yeah.
from our understanding,
This is what it
factual
is.
resident means what?
This is going to be when you live or travel extensively outside of Canada, but still have significant residential ties, for example, property, family, bank accounts here in Canada. Tax implications for that is though you're taxed as though you've never left Canada. So you might be outside of Canada for months on end, but you're taxed as though you've always lived in Canada. You're going to report your Canadian income and income earned in any other country as well. So if you're a digital nomad, stuff like that, you're still claiming your taxes here in Canada. A deemed resident is when you live outside Canada during the tax year, you don't have any significant residential ties here in the country, but are a government employee. So if you're stationed outside the country in the foreign service or even a military person, it could fall into a deemed resident. Or you've stayed in Canada for at least 183 days of the tax year, don't have significant residential ties, but you aren't considered a resident of the other country due to the terms of tax treaties between Canada and that country. So the tax implications of being a deemed resident means that you are subject to federal tax only, whereas factual residents are subject to both federal and provincial tax. And you can claim provincial credits and deductions. Gets a little complicated, but yeah. That one's more, I think, probably geared towards our snowbirds that like to go
Yes,
south.
exactly. So that's why they go to the United States, and before 6 months they usually come back. It's because of that implication. So that's what happens. So as you can see, my friends, it's quite complicated to understand the tax system. I don't know if it's only here in Canada, but share in the comments below if the tax system in your country is complicated as ours. And the implications, as you can see, you still have to pay taxes no matter where you are, even if you have been outside of the country for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And if I can give you any advice, my friends, and this is the part that we are giving you, an advice is keep track of everything. And I'm gonna give myself as an example. When I was living here in Canada, so I have to live outside Canada for a while, and I became a non-resident of Canada. When I came back, I had to, oh my God,
It was
might
a
have,
mess.
yeah, it took, I'm gonna say at least a year, if not more, with the back and forth with the Canada and also my accountant explaining to the CRA what happened and what kind of taxes I had to pay. So I was a non-resident of Canada, so I was declaring taxes on the other country, but when I came back here, I became a non-resident of the other country, by the way, the other country is Brazil, and moved to Canada. So when I moved back to Canada and I said, hi CRA, I am here, and I would love to pay taxes. So think about that, keep a copy of everything. If you are sending information, like mailing information to the CRA, also have a copy of the document where you can track the date and the time.
He's going
that-
on a rant, guys,
Yes,
because he learned the hard way.
Yeah, the date and the time that you mailed that information to the CRA, because all of a sudden, all the letters that you
Okay.
have sent,
It's okay.
you got what I mean. Okay,
All
that's
right.
enough.
Tax implications.
Tax implications. What are some of the tax implications that we have? First one, and by the way, we have our script up here, so we know what we are talking about.
Well, we hope we know.
We
what
hope
we're
we know.
doing. This is our understanding.
Yeah, so if you guys give us a like, it might be that we know, or if it is a dislike, it means that we don't
Oh,
know.
don't give us a dislike.
Well, that's part of life, like paying taxes.
So you may still be considered a resident of Canada, even if you're not physically present here in the country for the entire year. So the CRA is going to take into account your residential ties, if you have a family member or usually spouse or children here, bank accounts, things like that. Those are ties to the country. And if that's the case, you're going to need to pay some sort of tax here in the country. If you're considered a resident of Canada, you're going to be required to file a Canadian tax return and pay Canadian taxes on any income you earn. That includes worldwide income. So if we earn any income in Brazil, we're going to have to claim it here on our Canadian taxes.
So it's really important. And if you are a traveler, or if you are thinking to travel outside Canada for, let's say, for more than a few months, you have to think about that, because this is going to have an implication on how you file your taxes when you are coming back.
Yeah, and if you are traveling for an extensive period of time, make sure you're consulting a tax advisor, an accountant about it, because there could be deductions that you're able to claim that you may not get if you were a full-time resident here in the country. So,
and call CRA. Call CRA and explain to them, here's my situation, what is going to happen, what am I supposed to expect. I did not call CRA, and as a result, I learned the wrong way.
yeah.
Not the wrong way, the right way.
Yeah. So some of the challenges that we're going to have to take into account is we do not plan on being in Canada for 183 days every year, nor do we plan on being in any other country for more than 183 days a year. This 183 days is kind of important because the majority of countries use this number. There are others, but this seems to be a pretty consistent number. And that's the number they use to determine whether you should be paying taxes with them or not. So we want to stay under that. We don't plan on being in any one country for more than a month or two, really.
No.
And the other thing is that we don't want to have to become, we really don't want to be non-residents, because when you become a non-resident of Canada, they make you pay an exit tax. And so they tax you on all of your assets. So things like any real estate assets you might have, or bank accounts on stocks, jewelry, things like this. They tax you. So either way, you're paying a tax.
Because in our case, we wanted to still keep paying taxes here in Canada for a lot of reasons. First of all, we are going to have a place to stay here in Canada when we are back.
Yeah, we are going to have a residence here in Canada, whether or not we own this home, or whether it's a residence with a family member or something like that. We are still going to have a physical address here in Canada.
And bank accounts, you're still going to keep in our bank accounts. And if you guys know, if you have been following our journey, you know that I also have a corporation here in Canada. I'm not going to close the corporation. So that's another family time that we have.
Yeah, and we're comfortable with the tax rules and regulations here in Canada, so we don't want to have to go learning or finding another tax consultant somewhere else in the world to help us out. We already know the system here. We're confident in it. And at the end of the day, the biggest one is we may actually return to Canada at some point and live here for, maybe we are going to live here for those 183 days every year. So we don't want to give up our residency. We don't have to want to be taxed on the way out and then come back. And it just presents a whole new set of problems we don't want to deal with.
And just to be clear, this is what is going to happen in 2024 when we leave Canada and we start traveling. By the time that we come into 2025, we are going to reevaluate and see what we have learned and what are some of the things that we need to improve. And based on that, we will decide what are going to be the next steps.
Yeah, so in 2024, just to clarify, we will be factual residents of Canada. So we will have spent that 183, plus we have the house still, we've got all of our bank accounts and all that kind of stuff. So for 2024 tax year, we will be considered factual residents, and then moving forward, like Jean said, we're just going to have to see if any changes come up. If not, we'll just status quo.
Keep learning as we go. If you are a Canadian living outside Canada, traveling for more than 183 days, how do you file your taxes in Canada? You might be filing your taxes in another country. What are some of the implications and some of the tips that you think that it might be important for us to know? As always, we are sharing our journey, learning as we go. Please, please, please do call CRA and speak with somebody who understands the tax system, right? So that's the best way that you can learn and you can apply to your own situation.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the video for this week. We hope it made sense. It made sense in our head, so we hope it made sense for you. And again, this is as it relates to Canadian tax law. Each country has their own laws, so make sure you kind of look into all that if you're from another country.
And I'm gonna link up here on the description two links that you might find it quite useful. It's from the government of Canada, and that's how we've got this information to prepare the video for you today. Go and take a look and play around and read. I mean, you gotta read quite a lot because that's a bunch of stuff. But it's important, it's your money, and you should be in control of your money. So thank you very much for letting us be part of your journey, and we'll see you in our next video.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Bye. Oh, it was too fast. Good.